We are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Graveface Revival Series podcast. I think it'd be a video cast because, it's video. But I'm here with Sean and Christian from Monster Munch.
Hello, how are you?
Is that the official name, Monster Munch?
Yeah, that's what anyone who ever talks about us, which is basically our friend Debbie Roberts. That's what she calls us. Yeah.
That's literally how I refer to you now, unfortunately. So you can thank Debbie for that. So I don't know if you two keep track of this stuff, but yesterday, April 6th, was the 20th anniversary of All Lost. Weird, right?
That's insane.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It seemed like 1,000 years, or maybe 5 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess a lot's happened, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Speeds up as we get older.
Yeah, I did not schedule this.
Speeds up.
I did not schedule this because of that. That was just a happy accident. But so yeah, I just wanted to. Weirdly, I've known you guys for now 25 years, 26 years. We've all aged considerably. I just had my first colonoscopy. Oh shit! I didn't mean to bring that up. Anyways, so I guess I never asked you two this question, just in a sort of friendly, conversational manner. But how did you two respectively get into music? Were you from families that gave a shit about music at all, or like how did you discover each other and playing music in the first place?
I guess we didn't really, like not to any degree. Our parents, musical people, we just met in town in Reading here when we were like 16, didn't we? And I think Christian wanted to have a band, but he couldn't play anything. And he had like the worst kind of catalogue guitar, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was like entry level, and I could play a bit, and we'd just pick up anyone else who was near us and try and do a gig, which would become increasingly farcical to the extent of me as a person who could play a bit. If I broke, because we're also kind of students and poor and either grounded or not getting any money from our parents. And if my strings broke, we'd just take them off Christian's guitar. And that was The Geeks, named after the My Bloody Valentine EP. And that was how we came in, and we outlasted everyone else who was.
Yeah, it's weird to think that like we was arranging gigs before we had even like had played a song. It was just like the idea of wanting to do a band without actually having any ability or anything.
And we just turn up and go hi.
We wouldn't have a set. We wouldn't have
us.
any songs for these gigs. And
depending on how farcical the sound check was, the gig would either happen or not.
I mean, one guy said, "No, not today, lads." Yeah.
Well, how did you get to that point? Was My Bloody Valentine sort of the catalyst when you were a kid that made you say, "I want to"? Like, how do you even rent a guitar or buy a guitar? Like, how'd you get to that point?
Well, I guess for me, definitely like the Smiths made me want to get into playing guitars. Like, I'd love to have a go on that. Not having any awareness that Johnny Marr is technically incredible. So
I'll just do that.
Yeah, it didn't occur to me that would actually take some effort. Or it was just like, yeah, sure, I'll just get a guitar and immediately play it. Yeah. I guess that's the sort of that's kind of one of the good things about being young. Those kind of realities don't kind of, well, at least for me, that hadn't occurred to me.
I did have guitar. Laughably, I did have guitar lessons. I remember taking it. The guy he'd be like fine if I took him like, not like I did, but if I took him like a Ulrich Malmsteen song or Van Halen, he just like transcribe it for me. And I took him Johnny Marr. I took him What Difference Does It Make? And he, which is a kind of, you know, I think he said a tuning, there's a kind of droning thing going on. He's like, I can't work out what that is.
Yeah.
So that was a genius of Johnny Marr.
So you two just met in the city, just like at a record store, or where'd you meet?
In the street.
In the street, yeah. There was like a hangout area.
Schools.
There was a hangout area where all the kind of, I don't know, like indie kids would kind of meet up and hang out from different schools.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was good actually, because like you meet a lot of people, and
Yeah.
a lot of people from that kind of thing went on to do bands and
Yeah.
films and stuff.
Yeah,
So it was pretty good.
That's cool.
But before the internet, before mobile phones,
Yeah.
so like you would just go there, hang out, and you would bump into someone, like you bump into Shawnee,
You just go to town.
or whoever.
Like,
You know?
and we had quite lax schedules at the time.
Yeah.
I think you'd been kicked out of college by then. And so I had quite a lenient schedule at my college. So we just been town, just like talking to the Tramps and singing Syd Barrett songs, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Which made us laugh.
That's very cute, by the way. All right. So you start the Geeks. Did the Geeks actually have any songs, or was it?
No,
not at all. No.
So did you play covers, or just literally no?
It was covers, and it was the only gig that had any kind of form to it. We kind of had a series of singers come on and just sing, and I don't know how it worked out like that.
It was just a fiasco.
Yeah.
I think we had to do something. We couldn't bail out of that gig because the promoter was turning up at my house saying, "How many tickets have you sold? How many tickets you sold?"
Was he?
Yeah, he was kind of quite aggressive. So I was like, "Shit, we actually have to do something here." So that's
and it was with the I think we're supporting the band. They were from my college, and they were all the rich boys from college, which in Henley, and they would just they actually had a backstage area which we didn't. I remember going to get my guitar at the end. They were just all pissing themselves and pissing themselves at college on Monday as well. Where are they now?
Yeah.
So how do you get from Geeks to Eternal? What is that?
I think that was a pretty quick process of just kind of maybe over the course of 6 months, a year, just kind of getting to grips with playing the guitar a little bit to a kind of rudimentary level, and then
Christian kind of worked out how to play guitar the way he wanted, which is, you know, not the way other people were playing, apart from, you know, the kind of people you were listening to. But you kind of went into your bedroom for a while and nailed it, so to speak. And then he came out and he had the tunes, and kind of when Christian's got tunes, he tends to see if I've got tunes, and I generally have. But so, and then we had to go. But you had some really good ones, so they kind of went. Sarah Records kind of went for those, which was, you know, in retrospect, right, because mine were, you know, like a young person's songs, whereas Christian's are pretty fully formed.
I'm not sure. I think we at the time we had a drummer who was 15.
Yeah.
And I think he sent the tape off to Sarah.
So that
was pretty weird, really.
Yeah.
But I guess pretty quickly I realised I didn't want to sing or anything like that, which is weird, because we ended up doing that with the Munch.
Even then, we didn't kind of do it properly, did we?
Definitely not.
It was like, but yeah, and then you got in touch with the Slowdive guys.
How did Slowdive people find? Well, were they even Slowdive when they found Eternal, or was that when they were like, what is it, the Pumpkin Fairies or whatever?
I think it was a similar sort of time where it was, we were all of us were kind of, it was when My Bloody Valentine were kind of, everyone was getting into that, and they were kind of, everyone, it was gone. We'd all of us had gone from being into like sort of shambly kind of stuff to more kind of like, oh, hang on a minute, this is My Bloody Valentine, kind of that more kind of, so it kind of coincided with the Pumpkin Fairies thinking, hang on a minute, we want to leave that kind of.
Yeah, because like every week a record come out, and that would be like, I've never heard anything like that before. It's like we can't just be indie losers anymore.
I mean, would you say, given your fanship as a kid or young person with something like My Bloody Valentine, that when Slowdive signed with Creation Records, that was probably the sort of the peak for you, Christian, as a young human pursuing music?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it was, obviously the Cocteau Twins were massive for me as well. So it would either have been 4AD or Creation at the time, just simply because of My Bloody Valentine. House of Love as well, were really good. So yeah, I remember Neil phoning me up at home and saying, "Oh, we've got to go into town because we've got to meet Alan McGee." I just thought he was winding me up. Even when I turned up, I thought he was just a joke. So yeah. Yeah.
I mean, were there any anecdotally funny or interesting pitfalls or just anything surrounding that Creation stuff that's worth mentioning?
Not really. I mean, I remember like at the time when we met Alan McGee, he was saying, have you got lots of songs? And we're like, oh yeah, we got loads of songs. Yeah, I think we had like 5 songs. And during the meeting, he was like, I need you to be committed. And at that point, our drummer said, well, I'm not, I'm going to university. So, it's stuff like that, but it all happened really quickly. And yeah, we just went from kind of like, the losers hanging around the benches in Reading to hanging around with, the losers from Creation. So,
because like what year was Eternal?
I think that was 89.
Yeah.
And I think that record, it was recorded in 89. And it came out in 1990, about this time, 1990. And then I guess it was around June when the whole Creation thing just happened really, really quickly. Like, yeah.
That's so interesting to reflect on, right? Like how short a period of time something like that was, all those like high highs and perhaps low lows.
It was crazy. Like when you think about now, like, an album seems to take years to come out. But, it's like almost a band can form and have its entire career in almost like 18 months or something.
Yeah, it's fucking wild. Because when did you get dropped from Creation? Was that 95?
I think that was, it would have been like, early 95. So what's that, like 4.5 years maybe? Crazy. And in that time, there was basically 3 albums, but also EPs worth, just 4 albums in 4.5 years, really.
Yeah, that's a lot. Was that, do you remember feeling kind of not happy, but like relieved to a degree that Creation dropped you? Was there any sort of like, all right, I'm time for something else, or was it actually kind of devastating?
Yeah, I think so. I think it felt like, because like we were saying earlier, like 4 or 5 years when you're like 23 or 24 feels like a lifetime,
Yeah.
And it felt like, there was no kind of, even though there was some bad times with it, because you're young and it's all exciting, and then you experience the music industry and find out, oh my god, actually it's brutal. Our accountant ended up in jail, all this kind of stuff. But I think by the end we were just kind of like, it's run its natural course and it was great fun and it's time to do something else. So it didn't feel like the end of the world or anything. It was just like, yeah, that was an adventure. Let's move on.
So following the initial demise of Slowdive, how did you and Sean like pursue music again together? Like what was, because that wasn't until the late 90s, early aughts, right? So that
You've
would
always
have been,
been in bands, haven't you, Sean?
Yeah, but I mean, like you, I don't really like being in charge. But I do like, we did a kind of, there's like pretty soon after Slowdive, we started. Remember, I came around your house, we just had loads of songs, but they were all ridiculous. And it was like, because you were like really not in a kind of Slowdive world at that point. So we were just writing really moronic pop songs. But that didn't really take off, did it? Don't know if we even named it. I think we tried to record things, but yeah.
Just didn't. I don't think we had any kind of momentum.
We weren't totally serious either.
We tried a singer out, and that kind of didn't really work. I don't know.
But then I think it could, and then we were working to get, like, basically like living near each other. We were like working at the same place. Nick from Slowdive was also working there, and so we'd just be sat next to each other. And I think then it was just a plan was hatched that we just like book a studio, because we knew off our own backs we wouldn't get it together. So if we're in the studio and someone's shouting at us, then
Yeah, that's true actually, because I think that maybe that's a similar thing to with the geeks, is that like we had to give ourselves like a deadline, like shit, we booked a studio, so we have to do something.
I think we often did that all through Monster Movie, really.
Yeah. Otherwise, if we didn't book something, have a deadline, then it would just drift on and on and on forever.
Yeah. So with the first Claire Records EP, the CD5, was that music that you already had written, or was that like you went through, like, did Dan from Claire Records hear demos, and like how much forethought was there going into that CD EP? Was it years of material stored up?
No, it was like that was our first.
It was not. Yeah,
that was the result of our first recording session, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, unfortunately, like, we always recorded at someone who got a really good sound for us, so it did sound pretty. To get any, he could cope with our stupid requests, because we didn't have. It was just us, so it was kind of drum patterns taken from other places.
Yeah, we could never find a drummer.
Yeah, well, we were kind of pretty sure we weren't going to play live as well. I think we were just scared. As you say, we're not really band leaders, so we were like better off in the studio, really, weren't we? And yeah, so that was like, the first 4 or 5 songs we did. And some of them were all right, a couple of them were all right.
So you tracked those 5 songs, sent them. How did Dan hear about you? Like, what was that process like?
Do you know what? I don't know. I guess we sent them to him somehow. I don't know. Maybe we would just. I don't know. I know I was just kind of getting back into that kind of music,
right?
And have a look around who's releasing that kind of music, maybe on the internet, I guess.
Well, I guess I'm just most curious how you got to Last Night Something Happened. Like, so was the EP received and like, oh, this is great, let's do a full-length album, or was it all just kind of plowing through?
I think that's right. I think the EP happened, and then he was like, do you want to do an album? And we were like, yeah, that sounds great. And that's what we did. So we went back to Western Superman, and just started writing for that album.
Yeah. That's quite good fun. That one.
It's
still quite a lo-fi setup, and we just like go and take it in turns to layer stuff.
Yeah, when I was still living briefly in Michigan, the way I found out about Monster Movie was at a shop called Neptune Records, which was in Royal Oak, Michigan. And And in the slow dive section was, and Dan, I assume he was the one to do this. He was smart to include the featuring members of Eternal and Slow Dive little oval hype sticker on the CD. And so I just, kind of bought it, the CD5 sight unseen. And my ex and I had a radio show and a zine, and I think I could be mistaken, but my recollection is that she was actually the first person to reach out to you guys to interview you for our magazine. I could be wrong about that, but that's what I remember her pitching that as a thing after I found that CD. So I think that's actually how I met you guys, weirdly.
Right, okay. I don't remember that. I remember the split single we did.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a bit further down the line, wasn't it?
Was it?
I think so.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I think, did we do that one?
Well, because the CD5 was probably
Yeah.
2000 or 2001, right? And then
Yeah, 2001, I think.
So long ago.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I know that the split that had to be recorded in like April of 2002 because it came out in
Oh, okay.
October of 2002.
Yeah.
But I think by that point, last night something happened, came out in between when I first reached out to you and the preface Dream Monster Movies.
Yeah. I like that one. That was a good one.
Yeah, it's just strange that, like, I mean, I'm sure eventually I would have discovered your music by reading an article or something, but I just think it's funny that something as simple as a little hype sticker on a CD and Neptune Records, which is long.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, like it led to a 26-year long, what I perceive to be friendship.
Yeah.
Courtship. Yeah, and I wish that relationship with that girl ended so badly that I have no copies of like any of the magazines we put out together, or like I have no proof of whether or not she actually, like, who she interviewed, or because I wasn't super involved with that aspect. I was more doing the radio show, but
maybe I don't remember that, but maybe I don't know.
do have some of our interviews.
No.
all right, so let's get to All Lost, shall we? So that would have been, oh my god,
That's
I say,
2006.
2006. Yeah.
Yeah.
2005.
so you're tracking it in 2005. That was with Martin as well, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because the second album we went somewhere else and it was terrible
Yeah.
because they just because Martin in Weston is quite strict with us. And
Yeah.
wouldn't whereas the studio we went to for the second record, they just let us.
Oh, yeah.
Be terrible.
Ideas, man.
So it was terrible.
I mean, there's some good tracks on it. It just sounds, I feel like you can almost with that album, I feel like you can almost hear the sound of the internet or something, like the way it's I don't know if it's the way it's mastered or what. It sounds very lo-fi, which is fine. It's just it was a strange, because that was the immediate follow-up to Last Night, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was terrible.
Yeah, that's probably the only sort of negative of that, is it was such a audiophile difference between LP1 and LP2. Just like the tones were so strange. But
you know these things are, you do a record and the next one's like a kind of reaction to that, but sometimes your reaction's not right.
yeah,
So that was a few bad ideas.
So yeah,
that's on us though, I think.
Yeah, we learned a lesson there, and then
Yeah.
so we for All Lost, we thought, right, let's go back to Martin, and
I feel like All Lost is, and this might be saying a lot for Monster Movie, but I perceive it as like the most schizophrenic album of your catalog. Like the pop songs are so poppy and the dark songs are so dirgy. It feels very, it seems like a polarizing record. I don't remember like that reaction back in the day. I just, now that we've been remastering it for the LP, it seems very at times overly light and at times overly dark, which is just kind of funny because usually you guys fall into the middle typically. So
we like listening to things like Yola
I was just
Tango,
thinking that,
and they'd have a lot of different things going on in an album, and we thought that let's go for that. So there's like weird instrumental bits. There's
So
definitely Yola Tango. You'd hear an album of theirs, and they'd have like these really amazing light poppy songs, and then the dark stuff. And we thought, we can do that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't anything necessarily like happening in your personal lives that was so.
Oh, no,
either
there's always a disaster happening, isn't there? Every single album there's a disaster happening, but that's
fair.
That's just us as we used to be.
I think that's just life.
Yeah. I think that's what we were trying to do, is that just we really didn't want to be just doing like the same stuff. We wanted to be kind of moving around. That's why, kind of having the Slow Dive sticker on our records is kind of helpful in a way, but also not, because people who want to hear, I want to hear something Slow Dive, they're going to be disappointed because we never kind of wanted to do that. We were more into sort of, like you're saying, Yola Tango or Grandaddy, just that kind of that side of it, really.
Yeah, it was a different thing.
Hey man, if it gets them in the door, who gives a shit?
Yeah, but they
got me in the door.
They go straight to the exit.
I think. When's the last time have you listened to that record, All Lost?
I haven't. No, I haven't.
I think that the Vanishing Act song which was always my favorite, 20 fucking years ago. It's a very, very good, like, it's definitely top 5 Monster Munch for me. And it does still hold up. How did you know Rachel Staggs to do vocals? Like, how did that relationship happen?
I think that is through our mutual friend Matt from Air Formation.
Well, okay.
Do you think it is?
Yeah, I think it's from you, I think, Rachel, but you possibly got it from Matt.
Yeah, I think through the Claire Records connection. And Claire Records were lovely, by the way. I'm not, they were really...
Yeah, they're great. I talk to Dan all the time. He's great.
Yeah, they were, but Air Formation were also on the Claire Records at the time. And I think Matt sort of reached out to me and Sean, was like, hey, and we became really good friends with him, and ended up, James drummed for us. But I think he'd done something.
Guys.
He'd done something with Rachel, I think.
Okay.
And we were like,
gotcha.
Yeah, and she was really good.
Did she fly over for that?
I think she did. Yeah. She did fly over.
Yeah.
Because she did that Transistor record, didn't she?
Yeah.
Was that before or after? Or
that would have been the year before.
Right.
Yes, because that was still, we did that in Reading, but that we did a better job of that, I thought.
That was just at your house, right?
You did that one.
We took the recordings into studio in Reading, and kind of that was a bit more together than the To the Moon.
Yeah, I like that one actually. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, Transistor is actually like one of my favorites. Just has a sort of like an art piece. It plays very cohesively as a record.
Yeah, there's some good tunes on that.
So just anecdotally, I used to manage a gay pizza place called Pie Hole Pizza when I first met you guys. I don't know if you remember that at all, Christian. I'm actually remember the Little House, Christian, when you first came to Chicago?
Yeah, the carriage house.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right this second.
No way. You're back at the carriage house?
Yeah, so I when I started working on all this John Wayne Gacy documentary stuff, I reached out to, because it's in the same neighborhood as his murder house. So I actually reached out to my old landlord and was like, is there any way that house is available for rent, so I didn't have to constantly get a hotel when I'd be up here to film stuff for the doc. And she said her grandson, whom I don't even know was alive when I lived here last, was in the process of moving out. So I was like, I'll take it. So I've actually been back in the coach house for 3 years now, I think.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That was very cute, that place.
Well, we tracked everyone as a ghost here. Some of it.
Did we?
Yeah, because I think that's what you flew here for, was to track. I don't know why. I guess because I couldn't come out there.
Maybe wasn't I living in America at that time?
Yeah, yeah, you were. Yeah,
No, that would make a lot more sense.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I was
Yeah.
living in Asheville and I drove
Yeah.
That
from Asheville up to Chicago.
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's the trip that you and I went to the grocery store with my ex, and the person like stocking the cereal asked if we were a gay couple or something.
And your girlfriend was our daughter. Yeah, that's right.
Like that's an interesting leap to make while you're
It's just
stocking
out
the
of
cereal.
nowhere. Yeah.
I mean, she wasn't wrong. I worked in Boys Town, so no. The only reason I brought all that up is I would play driving through the red lights like all the time when I managed that gay pizza place, and that was a fucking jammer in there. I'm just telling you. Like I was able to sell CDs out of the kitchen. It was fucking amazing.
Wow.
It was like way easier to sell this album All Lost out of the kitchen of my gay pizza place rather than like try to get internet people to review the record and strangers to care and buy it. So just kind of an anecdotally funny tale.
Well, so we had one hit in Pie Hole Pizza. That's our legacy.
Yeah, I mean, but I used to have a line out the door till 6:30 in the morning every day, so it
Good pizza.
a lot of those people heard it, and they seemed to at least pretend like they liked it, and some of them bought the CD for $5. So yeah, that was a weird album to promote, if you recall, because we hired that, I think it was called Fanatic out of New York, to do PR, and they were like, I want to say it was, I feel disgusting saying this out loud, but I think it was like $3,500 a month.
Oh my god!
And you had to do at least a 3-month campaign.
Oh my.
Maybe it was 3,000. It was definitely not cheaper than that. And I mean, I just lost my fucking ass on the album because
Oh my god!
like, they didn't get anything. They may have gotten like tiny mixtapes and some of those, online zines that reviewed everything.
Yeah.
That probably honestly would have just reviewed it had I emailed them personally. Yeah, that was a rough era because it was the same with the Loose Salute and pretty much everything in like the 04 to 07 era. I just had no idea how to promote, so I just I threw money at it and it didn't work. That's the simple answer.
Is that your era of just living off like ramen noodles?
Well, I worked those 3 full-time jobs. I worked at a flower shop. I worked at an orchestra, the Dick Judson Orchestra. That guy was a fucking asshole. He just died. And then Pie Hole Pizza. So yeah, I mean, I put every penny I made into these PR campaigns, thinking that there would be some result, and it was just
Tumbleweed.
Yeah, it wasn't good. And it's not, the problem is it wouldn't have mattered what the record was. It's not an indicator of like, well, I guess that means these records weren't good. I just was hiring the wrong people and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So
also it's a hard sell because we were not gonna tour. So even if someone, kind of liked a song, they're not gonna see it live. So it's
true.
It's difficult.
It's yeah, I guess that was always the main question I would get with Monster Movie specifically is when are they playing live? But I don't know. I know touring helps, obviously, just because it keeps PR going. But you'd think there'd be another way to reach people. But
I think if we'd have done gigs, nobody would have come anyway. So
Well, when we did,
Yeah.
when we did, yeah, no.
so the original art, which was the William Schaff piece, which is a great piece of artwork of the guy shoving the
Mhm.
Valentine hearts with little sayings into his mouth. that I don't remember us talking, the three of us talking about this back then, but it never felt sort of correct for this album to me. Like it's nice. It's amazing art, quite frankly. It's just I don't know that it fit the music.
Yeah, I agree.
So, and maybe there's something to that. Like if the art matches the music and the music is publicized properly, maybe there's a formula for success in there somewhere, and we missed the mark on all ends. But so for the reissue, or for not even a reissue, it's the first LP issue. Christian, you had Chloe, my wife Chloe, do new art. What was that based on?
It was based on a old Penguin book, which it's probably on my bookshelf here, but I can't find it. What Chloe's done, I think, is much more to the vibe of the record, I think, at the time. But I mean, we really loved Will Schaff's artwork. And he did a further album, didn't he? But because he'd done great, really some really amazing. Like you said, it's a great.
We got kind of touch that. Well, he's this guy who's done albums we know.
Oh yeah, he's like
doing our album. It's amazing.
Yeah, but sometimes things just don't fit for whatever reason.
It didn't fit. Yeah, I think that's.
Actually, the Everyone Is a Ghost art that he did fits perfectly, I think.
Yeah, that's great.
Like that makes perfect sense for that record. It's just, I'm not an artist, so I would have no simple way of explaining like what did or did not work for it. It just, even back in 06, I was like, amazing art. Can we use it for? I feel like I have a very faint memory of asking him that, and he said something to the effect of course, but you got to pay me the $1,500 regardless, which makes perfect sense. He's a fucking artist. So I think that's kind of how we ended up with that album art. It's like,
perhaps we were a little bit vague in saying what we kind of wanted. I don't know. And we knew we wanted Will to do something, but we weren't very articulate in what. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds very plausible. But yeah, I like what Chloe did, and I'll send you guys some copies soon. It's kind of subtle, but the actual guy in the chair is what's it called? Embossed, debossed, foiled. I don't know. There's like an effect on him, so he like pops pretty hard. Looks good.
Yeah, it looks great. Just hope you won't have too many left in your warehouse.
Well, see, I'm in a new era, right, where I own a vinyl pressing plant as of last year, so there is no making too many. Like,
that's good.
Yeah, I made the amount to send to the club, and then I know Dan wanted some for his site, so I can't remember how many he wanted, and then I was going to make like another 50 to 100 for our, because I own like 700 retail stores now, so I need stock to put in them. And anywho, so after All Lost, that was kind of a long, in classic monster movie fashion, that was a long delay, right? That was four-ish years till Everyone Is a Ghost.
I guess so,
in the US.
And probably another 3 or 4 years to Keep the Voices Distant. And then Christian, you've obviously gone on to Beachy Head. Well, back to Slowdive, concurrent with that during the pandemic, Beachy Head, which I had the pleasure of playing some parts on. And then Sean, tell me about. So I read on Facebook you're in something called Livestock. Is that accurate?
Yeah. So I was in a band called Head Drop, who we got an album coming out, but we kind of haven't broken up. But the drummer's moved to Scotland, and he was pretty much irreplaceable. So we got a drum machine in, and we're doing, horrible songs around Reading. But
That was
Yeah,
good.
we'll do-
I saw it. Saw it
Yeah,
live.
it's getting a bit better, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who all's playing with you in that?
Kev, who was our live guitarist for Monster Movie when we did a few shows around Keep the Voices Distant, and he's played on Neil's solo albums as well. He's a really good guy. And then our mate locally, Nick, different Nick, who's on bass, and then it's drum machine.
Cool. We're gonna get another Beachy Head Christian.
Well, yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Some tunes on the go.
Yeah, it was kind of almost finished about
of course,
4 years ago, and then it's difficult, isn't it? Like stuff always happens. And,
It's not difficult, but I love you, so
Yeah.
I'll agree with you.
hopefully, Ryan, you can come here and stay here. And
If you told me, Ryan, I need you to come here to finish this fucking record, I'll be there next week.
Yeah, we'll sort it out. We'll definitely sort it out.
Because it's so close to being finished.
It was pretty close, yeah.
There's probably like maybe 25 minutes that are, I mean, I would call them done. Like they're done. And then I think we just need probably to kill a song and probably write another one or two.
Yeah, we could probably do it, but the good thing is like nobody cares, so
I don't know. The first Beachy Head came out during the pandemic, so people cared by default because they kind of had to. Not had to, but they were sitting there just waiting for anything to happen.
Yeah.
So you're not wrong in the sense that LP2 might be a very difficult sale, but it can't be worse now that I have a vinyl pressing plant.
That's true. Yeah,
like, pushing $3,500 a month into all loss promotional campaign.
God, that's just that's just a horrible feeling going through your warehouse and seeing like massive banks of unsold Monster Movie albums.
That Monster Movie's folly.
It's the good news is I invented ways to get rid of everything by way of making the CD mystery bags and the LP mystery boxes, which is great because people can actually buy really affordable media and they know they'll get at least something they like for a very little amount of money, and it has really helped clear out the warehouse. So so that's good. It's just tragic when you start thinking about the money. Like, hey, you're only charging someone effectively $2 for this CD or whatever. And back in the day, this physical CDs probably cost like $2 to make, or maybe more.
Would it be like cheaper to like just sort of recycle it or like melt all the vinyl down and just reuse it?
Yeah, I'd rather people just get media and I figure something that's 20 years old that I lost money on
can do it all over again.
Yeah, I mean, it's I just was going to say that money's long gone. So, for the 20th anniversary, I don't know if anyone realizes that Monster Movie came over to the States and played Savannah for our 20th anniversary 5-ish years ago. And Beachy had also played, and I think there were some other artists that never ever play. It was slightly badly attended, mainly because it was right after the pandemic, or like still kind of during the end of the pandemic. So I think people were sort of reticent to hang out in what they perceived to be a busy space. Funnily enough, they could have shown up and had plenty of space. Anyways, since now it's been 5 years and it's the Great Face 25th anniversary, would you guys consider playing a show or maybe tracking some new Monster Movie tunes or anything?
Yeah, that could be fun. Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I mean, we're just there, aren't we?
Yeah, we could easily do that.
Yeah.
I like the two of you together for Monster Movie a lot. It's very, Sean has a really interesting, I don't know music terminology, but like dissonant, is that the right word? Like Like the way he hears
Yeah.
chords is very, like it uses chunkiness that I would never think to, like it's cool. It's almost kraut at times or something. Like just interesting. Whereas Christian, your chordal structures are typically very more so how I write, which is open tunings and like, you know, you only need like 2 fingers on the guitar.
A bit more predictable, I would say. Shawnee, you have some chord sequences, and I'm like, oh, I really didn't expect that. You know what I mean?
Well, I think also then, because we also, in our finite wisdom, decided to do everything in open tunings. And like you had some nice tunings, whereas I, again, in finite wisdom, took tunings from like finger pickers, which are kind of constructed to sound nice for finger picking. And when you strum them, don't necessarily now sound nice. So that's kind of where the dissonance is coming in. And then I'm just kind of probably just finding a melody somewhere.
Yeah, it's cool though. It's different. It's not how I typically hear. Well, it's certainly not how I write. So I like it, and I like the two of you together because there's a balance there that's really nice. So yeah, hopefully there's more Monster Munch in the future.
Yeah, why not?
Anything you want to recommend to people new? It doesn't even have to be new, as in it just was released, but new to you. Movies or films or anything you guys are into that you want to promote other people are making, that's cool.
Go for it, Sean.
I don't know, mate.
No, I'm in a kind of.
Yeah, we both. I think we both agree on this, aren't we?
Are you guys film people? Do you like movies?
No.
Again, not. And again, I guess it's why we hang out, but we like at the moment
I love how just quick that answer was. Nope.
No, I don't like anything.
I struggle as well.
Might be the best ending to an interview of all time.
We don't even like watching football.
No, I literally don't like listening to music anymore. Don't like watching films.
What do you like to do, buddy?
I like to just sort of walk about, just spying on people, really.
That's you're a voyeur. Okay, I like that.
Go to the pub, go to a cafe and just hang out, just exist.
Yeah.
Everything else is just
running the clock down.
Yeah, everything else is just fucking annoying.
We're confused.
Okay. Well, anything else you want to say?
Thank you for having us, Ryan, as always.
Yeah, thank you. Let's not end on we're confused.
Well, Sean, when I come over there to finish the 20% left on Beachy Head, let's have a pint, as they say.
Oh yeah, we'll play some darts.
Yeah,
we played a lot of pool when you were last night, didn't we? Yeah,
that was good. That was a lot of fun when you came for that week.
It's because I tell diarrhea stories constantly.
That was great. And a meatball story, I really loved.
Oh, oof. Not on this, Christian.
Not on this. Not now.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Sweet Pea.
Cheers, mate.
Peace and love, guys.
Cheers, darling. Bye, Ryan.